This is Daryl Evans with Kings Vision at LAKings.com with Kings insider John Rosen. Game day, game 5 of the series. The Kings trailing the Chicago Blackhawks 3-1. A must-win for the Kings here tonight at the United Center in Chicago. Not going to be an easy task. Chicago's played very well here in the postseason. They've been very good all season in this building. Kings have to come up with their best effort so far.
Oh, no doubt. I'm really interested to see how the Kings are going to come out in this game and how they're going to play that 60, maybe perhaps 60-plus minutes. You have this team that is the defending Stanley Cup champions. There's been a lot of talk this postseason about how the Kings have responded well when they've been pushed kind of up against the wall, when they lost the first 2 games in St. Louis, when they lost back-to-back games against the San Jose Sharks. Now they really have their backs up against the wall, as this is an elimination game against them. Considering this is a team that appears to be extraordinarily well coached, that this is a team that has responded well in previous similar types of situations, that has won the Stanley Cup. They have that collective experience. You'd think that this will be, for the Kings, hopefully their strongest effort of this series.
Yeah, and they're going to need it. And I think from the Kings' standpoint, each individual has to manage what they bring to the table. They got to get themselves prepared. Then collectively, it'll come together as a group. Some of the areas that really stuck out in the last game and the games that the Kings have lost in this series against Chicago, power play, for instance, are going to have to be a lot more effective in those situations. A couple of times the other night with the Kings having a 1-goal lead, they had power plays to open up a 2-goal lead. Not only were they unable to do it, they weren't able to keep that pressure on the Blackhawks and let them kind of hang around. Yeah,
the power play has been really a sore spot really for both teams in this series. The two teams have combined 2 for 26, well, with the man advantage. This has been a series that has been determined by the 5-on-5 play. That's not necessarily a good thing for the Kings. They're averaging right around 1.5 goals per game, 5-on-5 throughout the playoffs. So this is a team that has relied in previous series on their ability to get the job done with the man advantage. Obviously, they've been relying quite a bit on Jonathan Quick. You kind of have the feeling, and you talk about, I've heard people say, well, the Kings, they're going to need to put 2, 3, 4, perhaps past Corey Crawford. That would be great, obviously, for the Kings, but this is also a team that's going to need perhaps the strongest game of the series from Jonathan Quick. You remember the last time the Kings were down 3-1 in a series. It was a 2011 series against San Jose, where Jonathan Quick in San Jose stopped 51 of 52 shots. You don't expect him to face that much rubber here this evening. Kings obviously a better team than they were back then 2 years ago as well. But this is a team that does not have that much room for error. So right now, you expect him to hopefully have one of those signature, perhaps 31 save, 32 shots on goal type performances. Hopefully the Kings can limit the shots on goal against. But Jonathan Quick, perhaps the most important player on the ice for the Kings.
And the Kings are really going to have to work on their transition game. Chicago's exposed the Kings numerous times throughout the course of the series. Last game, even as late as last game, Kings have to make sure in the penetration to get the puck in deep into the offensive zone, establish that forecheck. Game 3 of the series, the game that the Kings won at Staples Center, that's where they were most effective. They spent a lot of time in the offensive zone. They have to find a way to be able to do that shift after shift, keep pressure in that zone, and keep it out of their own end.
Yeah, and that's really been the challenge for the Kings on the road so far in this postseason. You really saw it in Game 1 that the Kings were stifled by a very heavy Chicago forecheck. They were turning the pucks over in the neutral zone. They were having that difficulty getting out of the zone. So the Kings, again, they do have some speed on this team. Really, the Blackhawks, obviously, the team with the speed, the skill that you would imagine between these two teams in this series. But LA is still able to work that puck into the neutral zone, weather a hit. Again, easy for us to say right now, but take that hit to be able to get that puck deep, get it to the red line, get it into the offensive zone, and then work that forecheck, make those hits behind the net. Hopefully, perhaps soften up a couple of the Blackhawks defensemen as well. But again, it's the Kings, their ability to get it out of their own zone, get it through the neutral zone, not turn the puck over, and then work that offensive zone time, as you said. That will be a key if they are to come out with a win here this evening.
Well, the Chicago Blackhawks weathered the storm at Staples Center the other night, playing without one of their top defensemen in Duncan Keith. They were able to get the victory. Tonight, from the Kings' standpoint, they're going to have to look to their top guns. Anze Kopitar, Dustin Brown, Drew Doughty. These guys are going to have to figure in on the score sheet. They've got to find a way to contribute offensively.
Absolutely. Kopitar and Brown, and say what you will about how they're playing dinged up right now at this point of the year, but they've combined for just 11 points total throughout the playoffs. This has been a team that has gotten that unsung performance from Slava Voinov. Voinov, obviously, a good two-way offensive-minded defenseman who he showed terrific strides throughout the regular season. But Voinov right now, he's tied for the team lead with 12 points. They're still, right now, they're needing Jeff Carter, another game-winning goal, perhaps. Jeff Carter, no game-winning goal so far in the postseason right now. You saw him lead the league with 8 game-winning goals in the regular season. So, again, another player that when the kind of chips are stacked against you a little bit right now, you need those big players to step up big in big games. Jeff Carter was among the biggest game players in the entire regular season in the National Hockey League. So he's somebody that if he gets on the score sheet, good things will happen for the Kings.
And we're not sure exactly what the Kings lineup is going to look like tonight for Game 5 of the series. Know that Mike Richards is on the trip. Not sure whether or not he'll be available to play with the Kings tonight. That'll be a game time decision. But Kings, again, are going to look for a lot of big games coming from their top players tonight. They're going to need it against the Blackhawks to try to take this series back to Los Angeles for Game 6. So tonight, again, the Kings, Game 5 against the Chicago Blackhawks at the United Center at 5 p.m. Pacific time. For John Rosen, I'm Daryl Evans for Kings Vision at LAKings.com.